This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. What's going on, YouTube? No, I'm just kidding. What's going on, everybody? Give me one of those, Meg. Give me one of the high-energy YouTube dudes.
Welcome to XNC Broadcast. Yeah, let me tell you something. Tonight we're going to be talking about Xbox. We're going to be talking about PlayStation. Yeah. And we're going to be talking about the cream of the crop, which of course is Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah. And then you know how everybody's not too happy about it. I know about that. Yeah. But tonight we're going to be doing that anyway, Colteastwood. So let's get into it.
Oh my gosh. Hey, man, you started it, not me.
You started to get like the Joe Pesci thing going with your,
you know what? It's
Macho
funny.
Man Savage.
I did the Macho Mag thing once, whatever. And as I was filming it, my wife's like, "Dude, you're literally morphing into Hulk Hogan." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
I know it's a mix.
Like,
hey, brother.
Yeah. It's like I start getting into it, and all of a sudden she's like, "You're morphing into Hogan," like from behind the camera, and I'm like, all right, fine."
Yeah.
Anyway,
your talent has to rein you in, right?
God damn it! Yeah, I know. Directors, what do they know, right?
Well, I mean, they're the ones that are going to make you the money. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's because I'm old or I'm older that
You're
if
old.
I see somebody start off a video like that, like, "What's going on, you boy? It's your boy." I'm like, and we're out. I was clicking on a
Make
video.
sure you hit that like and subscribe button and smash it right there. Yeah.
Or my favorite, the algorithm says that half of you aren't as good as the fourth of you. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's totally. What's up, Red Wolf? What's up, JV Smooth? It's good to see you. We got Yodana Kizada moderating up in the house. We got my co-host, Mag, middle-aged game guy here, and we were talking before the show. This might be a short show. News has been a little, I don't know. One of the biggest topics of the week is like 6 days old, so we'll get into that. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. We appreciate you. I went to click on a video today, Mag, and the guy has like 500,000 subscribers, and he was covering something. He was covering a movie that I hadn't seen, and his production value was so crappy. I was like, I just can't do it. And he was yelling and making 900 jokes. And I'm like, hey, that's our shtick.
Yeah, exactly. Corey, know for life, you're not going to get a bot on this show, okay? You're going to get someone with a level head, not an echo chamber. That's Colteastwood's job. I will be there to rein it. I'll be there to battle him back. We have to. Hey, listen, man. We can't be sitting there talking about the same thing over and over. We have to be. It has to be like a friends but odd couple at the same time. We have to have slightly differing views. Siskel and Ebert didn't agree on everything. That's the way it's got to be, man.
Yeah, one of them hated Star Wars: A New Hope. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was some iconic movie. I think it was Star Wars: A New Hope. Like one of them gave it a thumbs down. The other one loved it. Shout out to Mash for gifting 10 channel memberships. Meg, I really have not felt like playing anything. There's a game that you started, I think, if you had time.
Oh, boy, yes.
So I want to ask you about that. But first, I was just going to say, I kind of like tired out on that before I left on a trip at the end of the week. And then I picked up Assassin's Creed Syndicate, or picked it back up. I think I played it an hour when it first came out. And I'm trying to get into it. And unfortunately, I know I polled people on Twitter, and half the people love it. The other half hate it. Nobody's like in the middle ground. It hasn't caught me yet, and it's such an ancient set of game mechanics than what we're used to in modern days. But that's what I'm doing. What are you playing?
It's a great game.
It is?
First of all, Assassin's Creed Syndicate was one of my favorite. I really enjoyed the brother-sister dynamic of the storytelling and stuff. I thought it was wonderful. I like the idea of being able to like take the subway around the city, you know what I mean, or the train or whatever. You could just jump on the roof.
Hub. Yeah,
it's kind of cool. I really enjoyed that, and so it was a great game. The grapple hook is fantastic, a lot of fun. As for me, I am playing a couple of games at once. I'm still grinding away on Dying Light 2, as you would imagine. That's probably going to go on for at least another month. So I won't have to bring it up every single week. Everybody's going to be like, oh my God, he's talking about Dying Light 2 again.
If you're not talking about Dying Light 2, you're talking about Resident Evil.
Dude, it's 95 side quests, man. And I'm going for the 100%. Like, it's a meaty game, right? Anyhow, I am playing Resident Evil 6 with my wife. That's what we're doing. However, we started something new today. We started the first Descendant, and I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's not janky. It's not weird. It's not whatever. Like, I didn't find that at all. And I actually found it to be, I mean, it's also been patched like 5 times in the last week. So who knows? Maybe they worked on some performance issues, whatever else. But it's smooth as butter for me. I'm enjoying it. And I'm actually finding it a lot of fun. It's fun. It's simple. I get it. Like, you get that little learning curve in the first hour. You're like, okay, what does this do? What does this do? What's this menu? What's that menu? Once you figure that all out, it's pretty simple and fun. And I'll tell you this. I'm actually having a hell of a lot more fun with the first Ascendant than I did with Helldivers. I was not a huge fan of Helldivers. I gave Helldivers a 5 out of 10. I didn't think it was that good. I know. The pony bot didn't like a PlayStation game. Can you imagine? Somebody timestamp it, for Christ's sake. You know? Yeah. Where's Magnum when we need him?
Boy,
anyways,
boy, did I get in, Magnum's right there. Boy, did I get in trouble for saying that it just didn't click with me. I was so careful about how I said it too.
Dude, like the more I played it, the more it bothered me. I was just like, the friendly fire was irritating. Like I had to do like the Konami code just to get like an ammo thing to drop from the sky. You know, like, it's like left, right, down, left, right, A, B, stop, or whatever. You know what I mean? Or A, B, start. And I'm like, why do I have to do the Konami code just so I can get a friggin' thing of ammo? Can't I just pick up the ammo off the floor like a regular game?
And in the heat of like cooperative mayhem in horde mode, you're like up, down, left, right,
yeah. And meanwhile, there's a giant insect chewing your face off, and you're going up, down, left, right, B, A, B, bumper, this, that, just so you could get a friggin' machine gun.
Let me do it.
Yeah, like
Stuart from Matt TV. Let me do it.
And then you got like this giant lobster with his claws like poking at the back of your head. And of course, Magnum, he can't help himself, eh? He's like, you're not a pony bot, Mag, you're a straight pony. There you go, son. Anyways, I gave it a 5 out of 10. This, I'm enjoying a hell of a lot more. I'm really enjoying it. Anybody want to add me? Just look for I Am the Meg. It's cross-platform, so whether you're Xbox or PlayStation or PC, whatever, you can find me. I'll be floating around, and I'm really enjoying it. So I've been doing that, Dying Light, Resident Evil 6, and just to keep up with the Ponybot situation, I was upstairs in the living room, and I'm like, I don't feel like going downstairs to turn on anything. So my wife's PlayStation was up there. I started Sifu, which I got for free. It was like one of those monthly games or whatever. And I remember Rand was talking about it. He said he really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's right, folks. Rand Althor liked the PlayStation game. I guess he's a Ponybot too, right?
And he got off of a book and actually played a game.
Holy mackerel. I remember him talking about it like a year ago or whatever, whenever the hell he played it. And he says it's a really great game or whatever. So I'm like, all right, let me check it out. And it's fun. It's a nice little breath of fresh air that's pulling me away from the other, like the larger grind games that I'm into right now. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Long story longer.
Chat, while we're talking about that, let us know what game is holding you over. I would assume that most people aren't really playing new games, and that's kind of where I'm at. And First Descendants is really, it was pretty good, but I just kind of got worn out of the structure and got into a spot where I kind of went to the next set of missions and I couldn't finish them by myself. So you need friends. But Magnum says Randall Pony. We appreciate you guys being here. News has been kind of quiet, but one of the big things, and we'll get it out of the way now because I don't know if there's much more to say about it, is about 6 days, a day after. Yeah, it was the day after XSC, Mag. They announced that they were upping Game Pass Ultimate up to $20 a month. They announced there's a tier that doesn't have first-party games, and my immediate reaction was like, why are you making all these tiers and you have this chart system that is just so convoluted? I think Xbox says, hey, this is all of our games. This is where you can play our games. And I think they need to just offer you just one easy service. I don't know. People are bothered by that, Mag, because I'm like, just offer Game Pass Ultimate and say, look, this is Xbox. We do cloud, we do PC, we do Xbox. If you don't want to use cloud or you don't want to play on PC, those games are waiting for if you add that to your collection, but maybe that's wasteful. But I just think that Xbox has making it kind of convoluted. And I don't know, what's your take on the Game Pass price hike? Is it a big deal? And so on and so forth.
It's 20. I mean, it's 6 days later, so like any of the emotion is now out of my system, right? Because like you kind of like process what happened, and you're like, all right, whatever. However, it is $26 here in Canada. That's with tax. Well, at least in Ontario, with tax. So that's not exactly super cheap. So the thing is, what I was looking at, let me look at it from a couple of points of view here. What I did find is that for the people that are going to be staying into the service and saying, all right, we're paying more because they're giving us whatever, bigger games or better games or whatever, more expensive games. Here's the thing. Inadvertently, what I think that they've done is that they've actually put more pressure on those teams now to produce quality games, because now people are going to be expecting 8.5s and above. Because if you start pumping out mediocrity, people are going to freak the F out. I will tell you that right now. Like, for example, if Indy Jones is a 6.5 or a 7, you best believe I didn't say that's what's going to happen. If that happened, or Avowed is a 7, right? People are going to lose their effing minds. Okay. And so what Microsoft has done has inadvertently put more pressure on these teams by raising the price, the financial bar. And so now what's happening is now you put more pressure on these teams to produce absolute bangers. Because I've heard people say, well, they raised the price, but they got a bunch of bangers coming. How do you know that? We know that the games look good. The titles are great. Like the
roadmap's awesome. Yeah.
The roadmap is awesome. That doesn't mean the final product is. So you don't exactly know. And therefore, you can't say you know. Oh, well, I know. No, you don't. You don't. You don't until it comes out. When it comes, it's just like a movie. That trailer was awesome. And then the movie comes out and it's, falls flat on its face. That can happen, people. So, there's a little bit of that. Now, the other thing is that there is a bit of a gamble there. And I did notice some people, they're saying, oh, time to stack. And, there's some people who are stacked until like 2137. Like, Picard is going to be in the Enterprise battling Klingons. And you're still going to be subscribed to Game Pass. I'm like, guys. Pump the... I understand because you don't want to pay more. But, like, what if it's not good?
I mean, to be fair, they're thinking... I know what Xbox has in 2024, which is like 4 games. 2025, they've got like 6 or 4. Yeah. I'm talking about just the big ones like High Water. And then 2027, they have something until the next generation starts, or when it starts, or if that's 26.
They have the games.
Right?
I'm not denying that they have the games. I'm not even denying that they're going to be good.
And
people don't get it twisted because simple-minded people.
Right.
Yes. You're saying
you're talking $240 a year for $450 worth of just Xbox first-party games. Like, sure. And I'm not saying that to defend it, because I definitely am. I'm right there. I'm right there with you.
I'm not defending it. I'm just saying there's a possibility. That they may not be as good as you want it to be. I'm just saying it's a possibility. You have to be open to every possibility.
Yeah.
Right? When you go see a movie, when you read a book. Yes.
Mr. Huck was saying to you, who's stacking? Well, when Mag says that, I say the same thing too. There's some people have taken it upon themselves to like get a way better deal in the long run, and some people will stack. And Jez Corden and Widow Central had put out an article today about that. So some people are stacking, but yeah, I mean, it's a thing. Sorry, Mag, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And there's a couple things I was going to say that I'm finding to be a little bit strange to me is that if you it's almost like they've handcuffed you in a way. So it's like, okay, well, you're in the service now, but if you leave, when we had like that 7-month gap of nothing, and like they had games going in there, but like they were games that didn't interest me, and I'd be like, why am I subscribing for 7 months? Can you imagine at $26 a month for 7 months, and they don't have something that I want to play? That's a lot of money thrown down the toilet. That's like $200 down the toilet for me. So Now you look at something like that. Now, if you unsubscribe for an X amount of time, and they're like, okay, well, between, let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to make things up. Between Indy Jones and between like their next release is going to be like 6 months or 5 months or whatever the heck it's going to be, and you don't want to subscribe during that time, you get punished for doing that. Because the price I'm paying now, I can continue to pay that price now as long as I stay subscribed. So in a way,
right.
And I remember Rand was talking about it on the Xbox 2 podcast. He was saying the exact same thing. Before anybody gets mad at me, Rand said it first. Right under the bus, buddy. Right under the bus.
Right.
And
right.
like the thing is, so what you've done is that you sort of like you put a stranglehold on the people that are already, you know what I mean, that are already subscribed. So like, okay, so now I'm gonna get punished. So now you're gonna charge me.
Yeah.
If you leave, they're gonna charge me $8 more now. Just because I left because there was nothing that interested me. Nice, very nice. So there's that. And then the other thing is if you're trying to entice new people, starting at a price at that point is pretty tough to, a tough pill to swallow for new people who are not interested or maybe who have no idea what's going on in that Xbox ecosystem. You're trying to bring more people in by putting what I find to be the ironic name of standard. There's nothing standard about it because because what have they been saying since 2017? Those games that come in a day pass day one are standard. First party games are standard.
I know things change, but I'm with you so much on that, Mag. Where
name
since 2019, the message has been all of our games and all these games come to you with Game Pass day one, right? Since Crackdown 3 and State of Decay, right?
Right. So they picked the dumbest name in the history of the world by saying standard. So you're like, okay, so standard Game Pass is not so standard after all. So
it should be called limited.
It should be called base or something like Game Pass
Core.
Base, Game Pass Core, Game Pass Limited,
Core.
Game Pass Ground Zero. I don't know.
Game Pass Magma.
But you call it standard, and there's nothing standard about it. It doesn't give you the games day one or anything like that. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So like if you've been advertising, I understand things change. I understand, policies change, thoughts change, game plans change, obviously. But I think it's a silly name. That's just me. That's just me. But anyways, I'm not making a big deal out about it. I'm just presenting thoughts and opinions. You know what I mean? People are gonna poop all over me about this, but it is what it is, man. But like I said, I was listening to Xbox 2 and Rand was making a lot of sense. He's like, they had these huge gaps in between first-party games. Are they going to continue doing that?
At one point, did you have to wake up when you fell asleep during their boring Xbox 2 podcast?
It was like the first hour while I was still awake. But anyways, he made a lot of sense, and Rand made a lot of sense. But anyway, the thing is, at the end of the day, like I said, if you're trying to build people in there, I figured some kind of an introductory price would have probably been a lot more suitable to bring more people into the ecosystem, not $26 to start off, and then you get those games day one. If you don't care about day one, okay, fine. But then what do you get? Like, I mean, you're getting the past games, but like the past games have also been kind of hit and miss. So it's I don't know, man. It just seems really odd to me, an odd decision to make. Now, someone did mention saying, listen, if you're not getting the growth that you want, you have to squeeze the dollars out of the base, out of the actual paying customers that you do have. So that has always been a thing too. So like the people that are not going to leave, you're going to have the diehards, the people in this chat, people who listen to this after, the people who leave mean comments after the show's done. You know what I mean? Like those people, the most hardcore people, they will continue to pay for Game Pass, and they're the ones who are going to continuously get hosed because as Xbox keeps raising that price, and they will.
I think they're right there at the edge. People are already kind of like, that arcade game where all the coins just keep getting pushed, and the more coins that get added. There are people that are literally saying that. I've heard them say it as price hikes go up. Like, this was my tipping point. I'm out. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is every month.
I'm not out, and I'll tell you why I'm not out. I'm going to see how the next 6 months plays out. And what I mean by that is that Flintlock, someone mentioned in the chat before, I almost forgot about it. Flintlock is coming out this week, right? It coming out in 3 days. So it'll be out this Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play Flintlock. I'm going to play Avowed.
There's another one that we never talk about.
I know, Stalker 2. We keep forgetting because they delayed it so many times.
No, there's another one that's not like on the radar of what you and I usually talk about. I'm looking for the release date.
Yeah,
I got to write that. It's Kunitsu Path of the Goddess, which is by Capcom, which is a really cool looking game. It comes out, it comes out the day after Flintlock Siege of Dawn on Game Pass. If I have that, if that date, July 19th, and Flintlock comes out 18th. And if you remember Path the Goddess, it's really cool looking Japanese adventure fighting game. I don't know how to describe it, but
that's very cool. Just look up the trailer, folks. So the thing is, I'm going to see how the rest of 2024 plays out. And what I mean by that is that I'm going to play those games. Flintlock, this other one you just mentioned, I'll give it a shot. Avowed, Call of Duty, and Indy Jones. I will play all those games and then make a decision from there, thinking whether it's worth it or not, and say, well, okay, were those games excellent experiences that were worth, let me do some basic math here. Sorry, give me 5 seconds here because I didn't want to do it off the top of my head. $182 is going to cost me for the rest of the year for Game Pass, right? So I'm going to look at those games. Now, you would immediately say, well, Mag, you just named 5 games. That's already kind of worth it. You're right. If the games are worth playing, they have to be good first. So I'm going to see how they play out and see how it goes. And if I did enjoy my experiences, I'd be like, you know what? Then it's worth it for me. I'm going to continue subscribing to Game Pass. That's fine. But if I find that it's dud after dud minus Call of Duty, because we know what we're getting with Call of Duty, and it looks great, but we will see. But if the other ones are all duds, then I'll be like, you know what? I'll just wait till I get a game that's going to be fantastic, and I'll buy it full price. I'd rather buy it full price than to continuously subscribe to something that I'm not going to use on a regular basis. Yeah. So I'm going to use this next 6 months, 7 months as a litmus test to see how the rest of the year goes. And that's the way I do it. I'm not saying that everybody else has to do. Everybody has the freedom to do whatever the hell they want. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Do however you want. You want to subscribe to Game Pass to the end of time? Go ahead. You want to cancel it because that's the tipping point? Go ahead. No one's going to stop you. And at least someone like me, who's at least a reasonable human being, I'm not going to condemn you for doing so. Even though I'm sure some people are going to condemn me for what I just said. Whatever, that's fine. I don't care. But it is what it is. And that's how I feel about it. So it's just, those are my thoughts and feelings on it. So like I said, I'm going to play these games, see how they're doing. If it's worth it, I will continue to subscribe.
Well, I've got a couple things I want to go over, but when I think about the value of it, we all have, I would say a large majority of us probably have Netflix or Hulu, right? And we just continually pay for it month after month after month. And never once do I ever sit down and go, am I getting my $14 a month worth out of Netflix? Because I think $14 for 30 days of unlimited access of a la carte for shows, I think I must be getting my money's worth. I've never thought about getting rid of it because I'm just not loading up the app. And I would think the only time a game isn't worth the money for you is if you just don't play it. Like, I know I'll load up a game, and if I don't like it, I'll have like one achievement on it, and I'll have 2 hours into it, or I'll get partway through it. I'm just like, I don't like it, and I'll give it up. I know some people stay and they just finish it regardless, but that's when I feel like if I spend $70 on a game and I don't finish it or I don't get halfway through it, it's because it wasn't good enough and I didn't get my money's worth. Or I don't know. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Colin Moriarty from Sacred Symbols used this price hike and the change of first-party games as a kind of a weaponizing argument support for what he has said for years, that the Game Pass model does not work and it's not sustainable, as a lot of pundits who don't like Game Pass and don't want the industry to work a la carte, even though the rest of the entertainment industry works fine that way. There is a lot to disassemble from what he said, but he basically said that this is proof, if they're pulling away first-party games in a tier, this is proof that the Game Pass model with their first-party studios not getting all of the sales because they're on Game Pass doesn't work. Well, he's wrong, because they are still offering them. They're just hiking the price like everyone else is hiking the price. My issue, Mag, is that I don't want Xbox to continue to feel like they can hike the price. I don't want Xbox to feel like, well, the number is 80% of Game Pass users are Ultimate users. And it's probably even higher since that statistic was released in 2021. And so Xbox is just saying, you know what, let's just make the other tiers less desirable and we'll push everyone up to Ultimate. I don't like that either. But we've heard the numbers. We've heard the revenue. We've heard in the court documents during the ABK trial that Game Pass is, and they've said on under oath that it is sustainable. They're making $3 billion a year on Game Pass, whether it's growing or not. And now finally, they actually have Call of Duty, ABK games coming in, and their first-party studios are finally ready to release because, there was a good year and a half where those games weren't out yet until we got Redfall. So what do you think about the whole sustainability and the proof that removing first-party games proves that it's not sustainable?
There still has to be a marriage between sales and subscription, and that's why Hollywood hasn't abandoned the movie theaters, for example. Okay. They've done a lot of streaming, and they're doing a lot of streaming. A lot of the streaming that's going on, you're not getting day and date anymore like you used to get during the pandemic when the movie theaters were closed. When the movie theaters were closed and they were doing day and dates directly onto streaming because you couldn't go to the theater, they were losing their shirts. So they had to have a marriage of both. And the marriage of both is like, for example, you have to have one studio has to have at least one blockbuster a year that crosses $1 billion. That $1 billion, as we discussed before, even when it comes to gaming, is that $1 billion or the $2 billion or the $3 billion they make on a couple of big movies a year, they fund the rest of the year and all the other projects, including streaming. Streaming keeps its head barely above water for the most part. However, if you also notice that streaming is starting to fail in a lot of respects, hence the fact that in the United States, a lot of those streaming services are starting to become conglomerate with each other. Like Hulu is matching up with Disney Plus because Disney Plus is losing a crap load of money. Hulu is losing money.
Is that why? Is that why they kind of? I see all the time this cross-pollination of bundled services.
And then you see what else is going on. Netflix starts adding advertisements to make more money. Prime Video, even though you're paying, you still get commercials, even though I'm paying for Amazon
for the same price. Yeah.
Like, are you out of your mind? And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is that they're not making enough money because in that respect, it isn't sustainable. And that's for people who have way more subscribers than Game Pass. Game Pass is going to need a hell of a lot more people to keep moving forward if they're going to continue to have these kind of teams they got working on these games. Or they need to have a fine marriage of a solid base of Game Pass subscribers, which will be one aspect of revenue. Then they need another aspect of revenue where people will purchase. Right? That will bolster up so that it's a nice marriage of both. The revenue streams cannot come from one place exclusively, and it never has. But it needs to be bolstered up a little bit. Like, for example, Call of Duty. Call of Duty is going to make them a buttload of money because the majority of the sales of that are going to be on PlayStation and PC. Right? And then even Xbox players, not all Xbox players are going to be playing Call of Duty on Game Pass. A lot of people on Xbox are going to be buying Call of Duty because they buy Call of Duty every year. They get the Vault Edition, the hardcore, and whatever else, like the hardcore Call of Duty players. So they're going to get a nice marriage of, and that's what they need to happen all the time. But the only way you can do that is by absolute bangers
of games. Yes.
They have to be the games that stop traffic. They have to be the games that Colin Moriarty is going to talk about on his show going, holy crap, did you hear about X, Y, and Z? It has to be the other side of the pond talking about those games. And that is where it comes down to, because if you do that, you will have a fine marriage of Game Pass subscribers and sales that will drive the business forward. I don't care about their business. They're Microsoft. We got to get this out of our heads that there's some kind of underdog. I know they don't have access to $3 trillion, but they also have a ton of money, and they're making a ton of money. And they're going to make even more money as a third-party publisher going forward. They're going to be making a ton of money. But there is something to be said about the Xbox. Now, I'm sort of going off on a tangent here, but there's something I wanted to talk about briefly as we were talking about this Game Pass situation. When they raised the price on the console, it seems like, once again, this might be the second or third time in the last year that they seem to be punishing the console users as opposed to the PC users.
Absolutely.
That seems to bring to me my suspicions this entire generation is that after they realize that the Series X and the Series S are not selling, that they seem to be pushing towards the PC market. That is not going to, come on, man. Like, they're still getting the same price as Ultimate for like $11.99 instead of like $20.
I want to speak on that because
what is that?
In the US, I think it's $12 for PC Game Pass, and you get all the same games that console gets for Ultimate, How do I do this easily? In
And
US
day
dollars, it's $12 on PC, 18 or $20 on console, because they have to there's like a console tax plus you're paying for Xbox Live. So Xbox and Microsoft are basically saying, why are you on our stupid console? Just go to PC and save yourself money every single month and get a better performing game with more options on a PC. It's insane. And I got to highlight Joseph Frissinger's comment where he says, man, I really hate to say that PlayStation fanboys are right. Some Xbox gamers are broke-a's. It's just broke asses. But yeah, they're...
I was like, broke. Hey, is that some French word I don't know?
Broke, oui, oui.
Can you pass the debris and a little bit of the broke?
The bruschetta. He as I said it like an Italian. I'm sorry. I'm just a white Norwegian. I don't know my accents very well. But Joseph Frissinger said that Xbox gamers are broke. And when I saw him say that while you were talking about the quality of the games and how PC gets more, it really, that is a perception, right? Because there are double the amount of PlayStation people that are out there buying games as there are Xbox console people. And then the people on PC are notorious for finding every which way around than to pay full price for a game. Or as Fred was listening, I said, full price.
Dude, it's either the Steam sale they wait to buy Assassin's Creed Syndicate for $1.97, or they're gonna, or they I know people who pirate their games.
Yeah, and it's not a big chunk. It's not a big chunk. There are some that pirate,
chunk,
but
yeah.
I think by and large, the PC community.
I wasn't painting a picture of like.
Yeah, I know, Mag wasn't, and I was going to say the same thing you were, that there are some people that pirate the game. They have so many more options, but I think by and large, the PC community is not cool with just buying a game day one at $70. And in fact, I mean, I mostly buy my PC games when I buy my PC on CD keys, which always offers a lower price than Steam does. So when Joseph says that Xbox gamers are broke, they have access to Game Pass. They have the most value on their platform. If you're an Xbox fan, you always have more value than PlayStation does, and certainly than Nintendo, because their prices never go down. So there's this perception that they're broke, but tons of PlayStation gamers aren't buying games. But Xbox has that perception because there's such a low amount of people when you compare them to PC players and PlayStation players. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's all I'm just saying. I feel it.
I have a question here, and it's not even really a question you can answer. It's just sort of a hypothetical. But the thing is, when you look at the console situation, the Xbox console, not the Xbox ecosystem, if you're trying to like. I don't get it. Like, you seem to be financially punishing the people on the console to make up for the lack of, because they know that PC players will not pay $20 a month for Game Pass, right? As you had just mentioned, they'll wait for sales. They're notorious for that, whatever else, right? They'll wait a year. They'll wait 2 years to get that game for, $5 or whatever. But the thing is that if you're punishing, it seems to be like they're punishing the console players, you're going to drive people away from that console outside of the hardcore base. But it seems like you're driving people away, and then what are you doing? And then you raise the price of the console, the console Game Pass thing again, if you want to get day and date, mind you. But it just seems insane to me when the console sales were like, what, minus 13 on the hardware front for the Series X and S. I'm like, what, minus 13%. And I'm like, what are you doing? It seems like it almost seems like the gentle push seems to be a bit of a harder push now, trying to push people into the PC. And why not? Think about it from there. I'll tell you why. Why spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the production of consoles when you could just basically just make the games and be a third-party publisher for PC and not have to worry? I mean, you could obviously offer a console next generation, which they will, but they don't have to produce as many, because then it says, well, the majority on PC, they're saving a ton of money.
Yeah, it's a bit different from that. I think the attitude is Xbox is like, the console's just our side piece. Like, we know we're going to get like 30,000, 40,000, or we're going to get 30 million, 40 million consoles sold across the world. And we're never going to get into the European market. We'll never break into the Japanese market. We'll never break into anywhere but in North America. And the other thing where you said, I'm trying to remember the other thing you said just before that, because I had to say something. One thing that I did hear is that with Call of Duty coming to Game Pass and then bringing some of the older Call of Duties into Game Pass, drip feeding them through, Microsoft and Xbox do not want people subscribing for $20 or $12 or $15 a month for like 1 month to play Call of Duty and then bouncing out and never coming back. And I think my personal opinion is, even if someone likes Call of Duty and likes other games, they're going to look at Game Pass and go, I'm staying. And I think for the most part, I think the majority, Mag, who have signed up for Game Pass have been around for a long, long time.
Yeah, they'll stay. They've been like out of the, how long has it been around? 7 years now? Because it started 2017, right?
It started 2018 with the spring of 2018. Yeah. So.
Okay, so let's say 6 years then.
Jeez, has it been that long?
It's been that long. So out of the 6 years, I have been unsubscribed for one out of those 6 years because they just weren't doing anything for me for that 1 year. So out of 6, I've been subscribed for 5. Okay, so yeah, you're not wrong. Like I said, the people who are in there generally for the longer haul. My daughter plays Game Pass all the time because she's playing her games, whatever, she's enjoying herself. And so that's fine. Right? So, yeah, you will get the people that will stay. However, there's going to be a point where it's just like, well, you notice that a lot of the hardcore, and I've heard this more and more, a lot of the hardcore Xbox guys have moved to PC entirely and have ditched the consoles. I'm not a PC player. This is why I'm showing concern, is because I'm not a PC guy. I'm never going to be a PC guy. I'm not interested in the platform. I'm not interested in the way it operates. I want a console. So you know, and I know that Xbox will offer one, but it's always going to be that redheaded stepchild moving forward because that's not what they want. Here's another example. Someone pointed this out. I can't remember who, and they showed the NPDs that Piscatella put up for the games and stuff, not the hardware and all that other stuff that he had made the big, he did that big news thing about like last week sometime. Yeah, it was about the games for 2024. Right? It was the top 20 games. I can't remember them all. The top 20 sold. Yeah. Right. And in the top 10, 4 of them were Xbox games, which is fantastic for them, right? And then the rest were like either third party, the majority, and then of course
like Helldivers and stuff. Yeah.
Well, Helldivers was number 1.
What else is on PlayStation side?
In the top 10? Let me see.
It was like COD and Minecraft and Sea of Thieves or something. For Xbox. Well, yeah,
and that was the other thing. So you had Spider-Man 2, Sea of Thieves, Stellar Blade. Well, that's the other thing. So this is what I'm getting at. The interesting thing that someone pointed out says Microsoft actually had just as many games as PlayStation that were in the top 20 selling games of 2024, which is fantastic.
It's crazy.
Here's the thing, though.
Uh-oh.
The only console that you can play all those games at the same time is the PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you mean all of the top on both sides? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So you could play all, and I mentioned this about a month ago when we talked about this, and I'm like, so you're telling me that basically if this continues moving forward, on the console level, you can actually just buy one of them. And so I never thought of that, and I just said, oh man, I'm sure they've thought of it because they got people that think of this stuff all day. But I realized, I'm like, holy crap. Did the PlayStation just become the third-party box for literally every company? They're playing Sony games, third-party games, and Xbox games. So those 4 Xbox games, which includes Call of Duty, I put Call of Duty Modern Warfare as an Xbox game because it's theirs now. Those games are all playable elsewhere. So now if you're pushing people away from the Xbox console and you want them more on PC or whatever else, or the Amazon Fire Stick and all this other stuff, then what is the motivation to have them not just buy that one box and be able to play all of them at once? You know why? And I'll tell you why. I know the answer. The answer is they don't care.
They don't.
You know why? Because Microsoft is going to make a killing in cash. Because it is so much easier to give the games out digitally to the competing platform and make their 70% publisher fee than it is to produce a console, spend hundreds of millions of dollars in R&D and everything else and the production and all that stuff, and maybe squeak out a bit of a profit. The money is in the publishing, and that is why they're pushing away from the console. They want you on PC. You'll still access everything. I mean, I'm not saying they're not closing the door. You'll still get the console, but they don't want you there because it costs them more money to have you there. They want you to be a third-party purchaser of their published games. That's what they want, and that's where they're going to make a killing.
Yeah. Oops, let me do this twice. There we go. Yeah, I mean,
So in
someone
fact-
was like, "Are you just noticing this now, Mag?" No, Mag has been saying this for months and months on my show and other places. Mash, thank you so much for gifting channel memberships. That's so cool of you.
Wow, dude,
Everybody,
you're crushing. You're crushing tonight, dude.
really
Unbelievable.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, like you and I've said many times, that somebody's running the numbers, and there is an advantage to selling some of these games everywhere. And Xbox just told us last week, you don't need an Xbox console, get a Fire Stick. And my issue with that, and we talked about the Fire Stick, but I'm just like, who is this for? Like, is this worth it to just water down your brand and water down your ability to sell consoles? And I'm still of the opinion that Xbox needs to say you can only play this game if you are on console. How do I say this? They're not going to say this message, but this is the end result. Is their message needs to tell the world, if you want to play these games, you can't just sit on a PlayStation. Is that better said? And I think
Yes, and
if
the
that was
idea is that
my
you're trying-
business,
Right.
that's what I would be saying, a message that the end result, the equation at the end is, I can't just sit here and ride bare naked butt ride my PS5 the rest of my life or my PS6. I have to go to Game Pass, or I have to go to PC, or I just have to be a subscriber and just play it on any device. I think the whole idea of bringing a bunch of games or half the games or a portion of the games to PlayStation console really dilutes everything else they're trying to do.
Well, see, here's the thing. Now, I'm going to kind of have to be forced, unless, of course, my Series X is going, which it should, by the way, judging by the way the last two generations have gone, is that my Series X will probably be good for another 4 years into the new gen.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Why wouldn't it be? Now, or there's a possibility of saying, you know what? If you've already got a Series X or Series S, we're already streaming with the Amazon situation or whatever else. You'll probably just be able to stream right off of that box. It'll basically just work and operate as a streaming box either way. So you'll be able to play all those next generation games right there in a Series X and S. They mentioned that before, talking about how they wanted to do that with the One S. Remember that? And the One X.
Yeah.
It never happened. It never happened. But they said that was something they were working on. I could absolutely see them doing that for next generation. I don't even have to buy another Xbox. I got one right there. I got a Series X staring at me in the face. I'll be able to play E-Day when it comes out. Well, if it comes, presumably it comes out next gen. But if it comes out this gen, whatever. But if it comes out next gen, I'll still be able to play it on a Series X. No
and
problem.
it would probably look pretty good. But knowing
It'll
you
probably
and
look pretty
I,
goddamn good. I know.
you know, we'll be like, ooh, shiny.
I know.
Yeah, we will.
I know. It's shiny. You got to buy it. You know, then you got to do a video about the unboxing, and you know, and the next thing you know, you got it anyway. But I'm just saying,
I got to do the unboxing video that like 12 people will watch because I'm not an
White
unboxing
gloves.
channel. White gloves.
If you don't do white gloves, no one's gonna watch it, Colt.
That's true. White gloves, no shirt.
Saying? Yeah, no shirt. Yeah, when you're opening the box, you get some of the packing tape stuck on your nipple.
No, the packing peanuts. You know how they come up and they're
Yeah.
static electricity.
all over your chest. Like, why does Colt have this weird looking styrofoam chest hair?
Styrofoam nipple clips.
Yeah.
Abdel wants us to talk about games, and
Sure.
actually, if you let Mag and I loose, we would probably argue about the situation with Game Pass all night until we bored ourselves. But I want to talk about this news that broke this morning. I actually sat and wrote a video, and I was going to make it either today or tomorrow, about Halo and Halo 7. And I'm going to give you, in fact, I'm going to open up another tab here and give you the synopsis of what's going on with that, because there's some cool information, but thankfully some of it's been debunked. So the report was that Halo is being, well, there is a true report that Halo has a new director working on new content for Halo. Pierre Hines is still leading the Halo force at 343, but the report was that Microsoft has decided to take 343 and use them only as a consultant liaison for Halo, and that other studios will be tasked to create Halo content and the next set of Halo games moving forward. And I wrote up a whole thing about this, added in some of my experience and what I'd heard and some of the things that we can expect from the Halo games. And then Jez Corden, about 2 hours later, piped up and said he's looked into this, or he thinks none of this is real when it comes to 343 being told they're not working on Halo as a lead capacity. So this user called Bathrobe Spartan, which I know is a name that Mag will love, he said that he was a proven, reliable poster that said that the series is moving away from 343 Industries, and that but the truth is they have downsized 343 from 500 employees down to 280 because they got rid of temporary contractors. So 343 is smaller. The report was that Microsoft is no longer confident in 343 Industries, their internal development, and the series will be worked on by other studios, as I said earlier. I'm reading some of this from the article from WCCF Tech. One of the bits of rumor that came from this mag is that we talked about this a couple weeks ago or a week ago, that Halo Combat Evolved is making a remake. And I just wanted to say there's no reason to remake Halo Combat Evolved. In 2011, it got remade where you had both versions back and forth. And then in 2014, it got ported into Halo Master Chief Collection on new consoles. Then it went to PC mag. And then in 2020, Halo Combat Evolved remake from 2011 got the 4K treatment. So there's no reason, just like I said with the Marcus Phoenix Gears collection, there is no reason to create this collection other than to make sure that PC has access to the entire franchise. But Halo Combat Evolved, there is no reason to do a full overhaul on a game that's already been remade. And I would just laugh. I would do my PlayStation remake laugh if they did that. I'm almost done, Meg. I want to hear your thoughts on it. What was the last thing I wanted to say? There was a rumor that there was supposed to be a spin-off, like a Halo ODST game. We don't know anything about that, but it does sound very concrete that Halo 7 is in early pre-production in Unreal Engine 5. And we've talked about that before, but Jez Corden says, I don't know for sure, but he says it seems very likely, according to how he's looking at things, and I am kind of in the same line with Jez Corden, that Halo is getting away from the Slip Space engine, because I'm tired. I liked Halo Infinite, but it didn't look next level. I want to see something that looks like it belongs in the year it was released. What do you think about the Halo news? That was a mouthful.
It's fine. What a waste of money. Can you imagine they spent all that money on the Slip Space engine and it just fell flat on its ass? Anyways, Christopher T, I just wanted to point something out. They are making another one. I'll just leave it at that. I won't say it out publicly, but you know what I'm saying, Christopher T. I read your comment.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to say, and that's confirmed.
Okay.
Anyways, as for Halo, did we not also hear that there was another team working on an offshoot of the mainline series?
That's kind of what I was saying. I know I threw a lot in there, but yeah, there was a rumor that maybe Creative Assembly and ex Bungie employee that is taken over as a director, that maybe he's either working on this spinoff or he's going to be leading what would be Halo 7 on Unreal Engine 5. Sounds like if there are two games, one of them is either Combat Evolved remake, remaster, or it's a Halo spinoff. So I'm more leaning into there's a Halo spinoff game that's not Master Chief, and then the other one is the big push for what would be Halo 7.
Yeah. I was going to say, I hope they don't remake it again. Otherwise, they're going to go work for Naughty Dog. But anyways, I'm sorry I had to make the joke, but you know what? Naughty Dog is one of my favorite. They're one of my favorite developers of all time. But you know what? You got to clown them once in a while. So
yeah, they do milk it.
They oh Jesus, I don't know who milks it more, them or Rockstar. Like, can you imagine the milking competition at the local fair? Seeing the two, like, who can milk the games the most? Anyways, yes, I think that other game, that offshoot game, would be like an ODST kind of game, or a Halo Reach, a side story not to do with Master Chief, that kind of thing, and then of course 343 working on what they're doing. Now, I like that thought of like two games coming out, maybe a smaller experience, and then another, and then of course a mainline Halo. As for 343 being only consultants, first of all, the first thing that you said about Microsoft not having as much faith in them, they're probably not wrong. That's probably the most. I could tell you this. That is probably the most correct statement ever. Because at what point does Satya and the rest of them going, yo, it took you 7 years for that? I mean, I loved Halo Infinite. I loved that game. I enjoyed it, but a lot of people didn't. And some people, it did well and whatever else, but it dropped off really quick. Then the multiplayer made a comeback, but at the end of the day, it didn't do what it was supposed to do, and like that was too long. So I would say that the first part of your statement was probably pretty damn close to correct, that they do not have enough faith in what they're doing, and I could see them collaborating, which a lot of people do. Like, for example, I brought up Naughty Dog. Do you know that like 11 studios, if not more, worked on Last of Us 2?
Yeah.
It wasn't just Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just like Neil Druckmann sitting there on a keyboard. It was like them plus like 11 different studios doing like all kinds of support work and everything else, right? I can absolutely see that. Now, Jez did say something. By the way, I am getting sick and tired. I just want to put this out there. I'm looking right at the camera. I am getting sick and tired of people putting up podcasts where they're talking smack about Jez, and they keep calling him Jazz Gordon,
Flash Gordon.
Ches Gordoon, Flash Gordon. Can you guys get this guy's name right? It's Jez Corden with a K, with a C.
Cordon Bleu
sorry,
is his name.
I was just trying to be funny with the K thing. Yeah, with a C. It's Jez Corden, not Flash Gordon. Anyways, you're right. The thing that he did say is like, why the hell would 343 have like hundreds of people working for them and all they're doing is consulting? That makes no sense. That's a huge amount of people to just be paying and sitting around and go, yeah, that's a cool idea. Anyways, back to Checkers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they supposed to be doing? 280 people, even though they cut the team down because a lot of those people were working on 18-month temporary cycles. I believe it was.
They're contractors, and they
contract
can just
workers.
let them go.
They're basically mercenaries for hire for game development, and so they were working on, I think, in like 18-month rotations or whatever. So, anyways, the point is that you still got 280. You said 280 people. That doesn't make sense to have 280 people as just consultants. That's absolutely ludicrous. Of course, they're going to be working on the game. I could just see them very much like what they're doing with Perfect Dark, doing a collaboration with, like, I'm not saying what they're doing, but I'm just saying, like, with Crystal Dynamics or anybody else.
There it is. There it is.
Into those.
Brad Ward Fight says, you mean like the initiative? Yeah, you said
Sorry,
it
that's
perfect.
exactly,
you said it at the perfect time. Yeah,
right. That was exactly what I meant. Like with the initiative and Perfect Dark, doing collaborations with the other, with another team and everything else. I can absolutely see that.
You know what I think, Mag? I think a lot of these rumors come from a lot of truth, like reasonable, educated guesses and a little bit of truth.
Sure.
I am right there with you. I haven't given this a lot of thought. I started to write the video. I got it quite a ways in, right? I'm right with you, Mag. 343 has a lot of issues. And if they become the head of development and how do I say it? The last thing I want to do is disrespect the devs when I try to give an editorial, because those are the people that make the games we love. But if a studio is more competent in creating the next Halo and maybe moving it forward, and they push in corners that maybe 343 doesn't or won't, that's a really good thing for us as Halo fans. I know people like to say, I don't want Halo and Unreal Engine 5. It won't feel like Halo. And that's just not how game development works. That's up to the animators and the designers to make the gunplay feel like Halo. That's their job. And they did it on Slipspace, and they did it on the old engine, which I don't even remember what the old Halo engine was called. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I think the truth of everything you said, Mag, comes down to the reality comes down to the truth that we already know, that 343 sounds like they have a lot of problems. We've heard about it for years. And if they become more like the initiative, where you have the meat and potatoes of the initiative telling a great co-located or a support studio like Creative Assembly, or who knows, it could be some studio that we don't even know the name of, that we've never heard of before.
Could be portions of id Software.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They could be working on it as well. Like, who knows? They could take 50 people from that studio and say, hey, listen, we're creating a crack team that needs to work on, this aspect of Halo, whatever the hell it's going to be called.
Yeah.
And on and on and on. I could absolutely see that. I mean, they're masters of the first-person shooting genre, the way it looks. I mean, look at the new Doom Dark Ages, looks fantastic. So, yeah.
Well timed that you said that, because Kevin in the chat says, going to Unreal is a really bad choice, though. id Tech 8 is right there, and it plays so much better. Yeah, the Doom engine is incredible, but you've got a pedigree of the grandfathers of first-person shooters that make Doom feel like it does. The best part about Halo going to Unreal Engine 5, Mag, is that Xbox has almost all their studios working on that engine outside of Forza and Fable. That's funny.
Right.
I could sit here and like maybe waste a bunch of everybody's time rattling off what games are in Unreal Engine 4 and 5. And there's a lot of them in 5. I'll just say that it's my assumption that Xbox is like, we wasted our time, like you said, with Slipspace. Let's put this sucker in Unreal Engine 5, and then we can bring anybody. We can get on the phone and call someone and say, hey.
You can have somebody who understands the software. They understand the tech. Instead of having to go in there, can you imagine like in these 18-month cycles, and then half the time it's a learning curve of how to use the Slipspace engine, which apparently was not easy to work with from what I understand and what I gather. What the hell, man? It's lunacy. It was a waste of money, a lot of money. And I think that a lot of the lack of faith with 343 is not the developers. I think a lot of the lack of 343 is going to be the leadership and who's actually, guiding the studio in the direction it's going. I think that a collaboration with other studios is a good thing as well, because it also pushes you to be better. Because they're going to come up with an idea you never thought of and go, holy crap, let's do that. So they start working on that and they're going, holy crap, these guys are doing this. We got to one up these guys, and we got to do this so that we can match their level of enthusiasm for this, that, and the other. And so doing that kind of thing, it brings together more focus, more energy, and more enthusiasm for the product. I could absolutely see that happening. And like I said, it's healthy competition because you're working together, not against each other, right? And so I think by doing that, you could get a better product. However, you still need someone at the reins who's going to bring this whole thing together. And that was what some of the failures of the delays and everything else with Halo Infinite is that there wasn't enough, and you know why. And then what did it take? 5 years in before they brought what's-his-face in from Bungie there? And then he was able to like rope it into some kind of a cohesive product in the last year? And
yeah,
then
it was like 4 years. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
And like they had to wait they waited that long to get to almost half a decade before they got someone in to be able to rein in the project. So they're going to need that from the get-go. That they're going to have somebody that's in there that's going to say, this is the direction, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, and let's get it done. Let's make it an amazing product. Bring Halo back to, I think the last great Halo, like I said, I loved Halo Infinite. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that grapple hook changed my life, man. I love that thing in that game. The grapple and the punch, fantastic.
I never unequipped it, bro. Never.
Oh, I never unequipped that thing. That was from the first minute I played to the last minute I played. But here's the thing.
Halo 4 won me over. What was the last great Halo?
Halo 4 was the last greatest Halo, like great.
That's 343.
And that was 343. Halo 5, I enjoyed the story. I don't know. A lot of people didn't like it. I loved the story, and it played like a Halo game. I thought it was great. I played it through like 3 times.
You know what it had? You know what it had that Halo Infinite didn't was variety in biomes. Like, I think if Halo Infinite had some biomes, like if you went to a couple locations on the ring, I think you and I would be gloating about it still to this day, even though we liked it a lot.
I gloat about it. I still love the game. But yes, you're right. Like they could have had a snow area, they could have a desert area, underground caves. They could have had all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had an opportunity to do that. And you know what? They might do that for the next one. We shall see. But I think the last I remember the difference because when I played Halo 3, that was the last. Well, it wasn't the last Bungie game, but I mean it was the last one they put in that series. Was it?
Yeah. No, Reach was. Reach.
No, Reach.
In fact,
Reach was.
Read that poll. I'm going to grab some super chats that are stacking up. Read that poll I put up. I think it's still there.
Well, yeah,
what's it sitting at? I haven't even looked.
Halo Reach is at a 60% versus 40% for ODST, so Reach is beating it by 20%. As for the favorite non-Master Chief Halo game. But anyway, Halo 4 was great because it did bring some of the controls into the modern era, which pissed off a lot of people. But, they put a sprint in there. They put a proper zoom in on the gun, like crying out loud instead of having to click the right thumbstick. Like, who does that in a shooter? Come on, man. It's always left trigger, right trigger. Let's go.
Well, I mean, first-person shooters were in the middle of that. They were taking that turn of evolving where those control schemes became more universal. Like when I'm playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I'm like, hold right trigger to run and press A to crouch. And I'm like, and you can't change it. Let me read these supers. Nerds and Other Legends, thank you so much for the $5 super. Says, I agree with Colt. One Game Pass to rule them all. It sounds like the majority of subs are on Ultimate anyway. Yeah. Thank you, Nerds and Other Legends. I know when I say that, it sounds like you're limiting people, and you are limiting people, but that ain't it. Go back to Core and Ultimate and just offer everybody, if you're paying for the thing, give them what you That's the platform, dang it. That was my argument. Thank you so much, nerds. Will Broke Up Boy Lewis, thank you for the 5. Says not including day one releases in standard may actually be a good thing and actually gives us sales boost to first-party games. I'm good until March 2027 for Game Pass, Will says. Will makes a good point that taking away the first-party games is only for new subscribers, but Will's looking at it like, hey, maybe someone subs to Game Pass and they want to buy all those games, but I think Xbox should offer that value. Nerds Are Legends with a $10 super. Thank you so much. Says, Mag, isn't the fact that you got to play the games in the first place the value? It could be that those games are not for you, but would you not have known if it wasn't for the subscription? Wait a minute. Hold on. When I'm reading this, Mag said, hold on, I'll be right back. I totally didn't hear him because I was reading the super, and I'm like, Mag, all by myself. I'm gonna read that one again when it comes back. Hey, if you're here, this is the XC podcast. I don't do this often enough, but we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and other podcast platforms. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. And also we're on demand, so you can watch this on YouTube and you can make your comments, and we try to get timestamps on there. But let us know what you think of the show as you listen to the audio version. Hopefully it comes across. We try to be animated enough so that you can follow the show because we talk about so many things. Let me go to the next super here. We got Maxie Coleman. Thank you so much for the ARS 50. He says, if you are now going to publish in PlayStation, use that money to fund Game Pass for us with no raise. Abso-freaking-lutely. If you're going to drop those games onto PlayStation and make a bunch of money off of those pay pigs, you should not be raising the price of Game Pass. That's why if anybody's like, oh, are you upset about what they're doing with the Game Pass changes? Yes, quit raising the prices on everything. I don't care if everyone else is doing it. Yeah, PlayStation Plus had a big price hike. Netflix is doing it. Everybody's doing it. But come on, Microsoft. Come on. Give me a break. That's kind of where I was. Biff Rinaldi, thank you so much for the 2. Considering switching to PC Gaming Pass for a while. Biff, if you have a great PC, yeah, I mean, you're getting everything there. You might as well. And I think Xbox should offer that stuff to everybody. Braden Martin, thank you so much for the $5 super. Braden says, Colt, we're not the focus generation anymore. Kids now play on tablets, cell phones, and they are focusing on the future generation. I don't want to live in a world where Skibbity Toilet is how we get around with our gaming setup. So, yeah, I don't know. I know they're going for a new future generation. I don't see kids playing mainstream AAA games on tablets. Mag, you know what they're playing on tablets and on.
Well, yeah. But you know what the thing is, I got to say that those kids will grow up to be us one day. So when it comes to like some of those AAA games, yeah, if they're lucky, it'd be so awesome. But anyways, a lot of them are playing, the free-to-play games, the multiplayer games, of this and of that, whatever. They're playing it on all these different things. But there is going to come a point in time where they're going to grow up and mature, and they're going to be part of our age group, and they're going to want to play on 60, 70-inch TVs. They're going to want to play those. They're going to want to buy those things. They're going to want to buy those things and whatever else. And so the market for that will always be there. Everybody thinks that it's going to die the minute we stop playing. I'm like, no, because the minute we stop playing, the people in their 30s are going to be in their 40s. You know what I mean? Then the people in the 20s are going to be in their 30s, and then on and on and on. The 40s and the 50s, the 50s and the 60s, whatever. There's always going to be a market for it. It's never going to change. It's never going to go away. But yes, he is right that the market is the younger people. You want to access them differently. And there will always be young people. Every year, there's a 13-year-old. You know what I mean? That's going to be playing Call of Duty and this and that, whatever. And at the same year, there's also going to be their 45 to 50-year-old dad spending $150 a year in microtransactions for that exact game for those 13-year-old kids. I get it. But there will always be a market for everything as long as we just keep moving forward because, like I said, those young kids who play on tablets now are going to mature into 70-inch TVs, playing AAA experiences on proper hardware.
I agree because I look back at when anybody could access Flash games on a browser, and we all did that for a little while. And then I think everybody, even if they're younger generation, Mag's right. They're going to evolve or grow with the gaming industry, and they're going to want bigger and better experiences. And with that comes like, hey, I'm going to buy a console, or hey, I'm going to build a PC, or like you and I always say, one day they're going to be like, I can get all of this on demand on my TV with a wireless controller, and I'm going to play this big RPG, this big fantasy RPG like Elder Scrolls 6. I'm going to play that. Nerds and Other Legends has a great super chat for you that I read. I didn't hear you say you were leaving, and then I'm like, Mag.
I had to go to the bathroom so badly. Like,
if you would have brought the camera in, we could have had a great show.
I drink so much water that it is getting ludicrous now. Like they give the daily recommendation, and then they give you the recommendation for how much you want to drink water to lose weight. I'm drinking double that because I've increased my my exercise regime. So I'm just like literally just drinking, peeing. It's ridiculous. My kidneys don't get the sleep ever. Anyways, yeah, it's just a cycle. Anyways, what was the super chat? Sorry, sorry.
Nerds and Other Legends says, Mag, isn't the fact that you got to play the games in the first place the value? It could be that those games are not for you, but you would not have known if it wasn't for the subscription.
Fair. And I know someone else said it in the chat. I don't know who the hell said it. Said something about like, oh, he doesn't play all those games in Game Pass, whatever. Well, I was closing in before I stopped chasing achievements. I was closing in on 500,000 gamer score. And I'm just not interested in there because the achievement system pisses me off, so I refuse to get them now, unless I get them accidentally. But they bother me because they never give you that completion that they said that they were going to work on. Remember that? And they said, like you get 1,000 out of 1,000. You're like, yay, I got my 100%. And then they get a DLC, and then it says you're only completed 67% of the game. I'm
that
like,
percentage kills you. Huh? I don't even care about it.
It bothers me because I'm like, give me like PlayStation's got the platinum. At least it says you completed the damn platinum. But they should have a separate category for DLC. Anyway, that's a whole other story. The point is, he's absolutely right. It gives me an opportunity to be able to play the games I most likely would not have purchased. However, there's a lot of games in there that I know, even if I haven't played them, they're just not for me. So if they go month after month after month after month of those games, which they did for a while there, and like I said, even Rand was talking about that, where he says he wasn't playing a whole lot in there for like 6 or 7 months. That's a tough pill to swallow. At $26 a month. You know what I mean?
What I do?
I could just cancel and buy a game full price if I wanted to instead.
If you really wanted it. And my MO is if a game looks cool, I'll go watch 3 seconds of gameplay on YouTube and I'll go.
That's what I do. Yeah.
And it's probably my fault. And I'll watch a few seconds and I'm like, nah, it's not my type of game. Or I'll watch the trailer inside the Game Pass app and go, yeah, I'm not going to stick with that. And I'm pretty stubborn. So when Nerds and Other Legends says you wouldn't know if it wasn't for the subscription, well, anybody could look from the outside as a non-subscriber and say, oh, what'd they announce this month? Nah, I'm good. And that's the thing. And
that's happened a lot where I see, because I also follow Game Pass on Twitter and stuff like that, right? So when they give those, like the tweet, and it's got the little boxes that shows all the games coming out that week or the first half of each month, and this is what's coming out the second half of the month. I always go in there, I check them out. If there's anything that's intriguing, I'll do the same thing. I'll go to YouTube, watch some YouTube videos of it if I've never heard of it. I check it out, and I'm like,
yeah.
And there's been too many months of, and so what the problem with that, like I said now, is that for people who consume games in a different way than I do, that's going to be hard for them to say, because some people just rip through a game and then they're done, right? Like a locust in a cornfield. They just go through and just, you know what I mean? Like Rand does that. I know he used to chase achievements, whatever else, but not anymore. Now he just rips through the game, plays through the game, moves on to the next game, whatever. And then he gets to a point where he's like, well, I'm just running out of games. I'm still like 20 games behind. If they literally stop making games tomorrow and don't release another game, I still won't need another game until 2027. That's how many games, because it takes me months to finish games because the way I do it. Right?
I mean, it's not even that. I've been paying for Ultimate for my kids every month for like 2 years. And I really, if you took a step back, I really could have just bought them grounded for $40 because in the grand scheme, they don't play anything on Game Pass. And for the most part. And so that can be the issue. I don't know.
But you're also probably paying for the online. I mean, let's face it.
It comes with the online and they try games here or there. But when I look at the games that my son or my daughter have played over the course of the, it's like, it was basically just grounded and then they play the other games that are.
Well, I'm not going to buy, like, for example, I bought, because my son's got a PS5, not an Xbox. And I bought him Modern Warfare 3 for full price. It was $100, right? Yeah. And he played it. Sure, he played it. But I looked at it like I don't know if you look at the home screen or like at the PlayStation home screen when you highlight the tile of the game that that you highlight whatever, and it'll show you like the background, it'll show you like the picture of the game, a little music plays, and it'll show you in the bottom right corner of how many hours you played, right?
Oh,
so I
didn't
think
know
in Call
that.
of Duty, it shows you like for every game, as soon as you highlight the tile, it shows how many hours you played in that game. So I think Call of Duty at $100, he played less than like 12 hours, maybe 15 hours of that game. He put in 875 hours in a fortnight already. Okay, so you see what I mean? So
for
it's like
$0.
so if I had him on Game Pass for all these years, he was putting the majority of his time, 875 hours, he was putting it into Fortnite, right? My daughter plays Fortnite too, but I mean, she plays Game Pass more than he does. That's why she has Game Pass and he doesn't. Well,
Yeah.
mind you, he doesn't have an Xbox, but she has a Series S. And she plays, Game Pass games, whatever. She plays her, whatever. That friggin' game with those dogs. What the hell? The Paw Patrol. She plays like Paw Patrol and Goat Simulator and whatever else. And you know what I mean? That stupid Gator game and all that stuff. Whatever. She the moving simulator. She likes those games. And so she plays those games, has some fun with those. Little Nightmares. She's a big fan of that. So like those kind of games, whatever. But like, I'm sharing with her now. Right? We only have the one subscription in the house. My wife got rid of her Xbox. She's PlayStation only now. Bunch of ponies in this house, eh? Holy crap. Someone send some hay and maybe some stables. Anyways, in all seriousness.
Send some hay.
Send some hay and stables so my family can eat. Bunch of ponies. Anyways, so I share with her now. So like when I'm subscribed to Game Pass, well, she just piggybacks off mine on her console, and I have it now. So we're basically paying just the one, and I get access to it, so I can play those bigger games that are coming out this year, and then she's gonna keep it for whatever she's gonna give it. So for me, it works out. Anything that we were talking about in the first half of the show, a lot of that has to do with I'm looking at it from the eyes of a consumer outside of this little sphere that we're in.
Right.
I will still give it the 6-month litmus test. Like I said, I'm not going to fraud on that one. I'm going to see how it was and see if it's worth it, and then I'll decide in the future.
I'm
what's
also
going to happen. Because my daughter doesn't need day-and-date games. She's not sitting around at 8 years old. She's not sitting
waiting
there going,
for Avowed.
When does Avowed come out? She doesn't care. So the point is I will put her back into the lowest setting and save $14 a month and put her in the lower category. And with that extra $14, if I want a game, I'll just buy it.
I mean, it probably would be cheaper, and I'm very guilty of looking at everything through the lens that people are only interested in AA and AAA action adventure games, or
they're not an 8-year-old.
No,
like my daughter's too young; she doesn't care. So she doesn't want day and date. So actually, you know what? In some strange way, maybe this Microsoft thing is not that bad of an idea. They just could have named it something better. But I mean, there are a lot of kids out there who don't care about day and date. No one's lining up at 8 years old to play Indiana Jones or Avowed or Stalker 2.
No.
You know what I mean? So actually, that might not be a bad idea. Like by the time they see it, how the hell would they know anyway? It's not like not like little kids under the age of 10 are sitting around listening to XNC.
You never know, because some of the more viral games would be like Fall Guys, and then there's that chain together game that I saw some clips. There are these games that just like, or Power World, where they just people are like, oh my gosh, this is so unique. And the AA and AAA market doesn't really meet that. And I know we always look at things like, what's the next big AA or AAA action adventure title that is like either a really popular JRPG or a Western title. But shout out to Game Seeker with a Canadian $10 and just says, thank you with a little pair. Thank you so much. That's another person I always have to say, thank you so much for being patient with me. We always talk about playing something Fallout 76 or the First Descendants. And I was just gone. And my mom was here all week, totally destroyed my will to live, where I couldn't just hang out with everybody. Okay, it's my mom. I'll spend time with my mom. All right, get off the guilt trip, all right? It's my mom. I spent time with, we had some quality time. Don't look at me like that, all right? It's going to be fine. But appreciate Game Seeker for still messaging me and keeping a conversation with me. Chris R says, thank you for the 5, says, I'm willing to give 343 a chance with the next game because old leadership was completely gutted. Nice. Yeah. Same.
Okay. Well, then And I mean, I'm not giving 343 a chance. Like, don't get me twisted about what we're saying. I'm just saying that I think that a lot of the decisions made on the leadership level are what caused all these delays and a lack of focus on the actual game. Well, then there was a reason why they were given the boot. You know what I mean? You can't take almost a decade to make a game like that and then have it fall flat on its face.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that.
Chris R says this is the newest team we've had since 343 started. I'm with you, Mag. If they announce, hey, we're working with such and such studio, I don't even care what name it is, as long as it's not the guys who make Roblox. If they say, hey, we're partnering with this studio to work on the next Halo experience, I'm with you. I'm with Mag. I'm with Chris. I'm with all of you. Like, let's applaud and just let's hope for the best. And let's get excited. I told Mag we were going to do a super short show. We actually made it about an hour and 20. And I'm not going to sit here and, I don't know. I just wanted to say hi to all of you. I wanted to hang here with my buddy Mag. And I wanted to talk gaming news with you. And I think we got quite a bit out. And you guys all got to hang out with us. And that means a lot. And let me say something, Mag, before I take a breath. I don't say it enough, but thank you, everybody who support what we do, who reach out and say nice things and say you can't wait to see two old guys, talk about the news. It means a lot to us, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you guys hanging out with us in the chat. The moderators like Happy Bomb, Udari Kazada, and there's Udani right there saying, please hit the like, be nice, and try to stay positive. Yeah, I mean, we're in a low spot where we just had the big showcases. The games are going to be coming out in a couple days. And we're gonna be great. It's gonna be fine, and I'll make some content and stuff. And Meg, thank you so much for being here. And I'm glad I get to cut you loose early because I know that you were talking for the show. Work's been they've been climbing all over your back and pulling on your eyebrows.
Yeah. It's been epic. There's been a lot of pressure going on, a lot of stuff going on at work. So it's not nothing negative. It's just that expectations are reaching different levels as things cost more money, right? So they're like, well, we're paying more money, therefore it's going to cost. For some reason, they all sound like Admiral Akbar. They're like, everything costs more money, and therefore we're going to have to expect better production, better productivity from the Canadian division.
I have no idea what you're saying, sir.
The plans to the Death Star. Many Bothans died for this information. Yeah, so that's work is work. So
and then
it's been
Lando Calrissian's little co-pilot, the plane. Well, if you're total Gen Xer, you would get that correlation.
And that laugh he does.
What is that guy? Because I always thought he looked like Hispanic, but he's like an alien. He kind of had the little mustache.
Ironically,
I gotta look up his picture.
The language that he used in film, which he only said a couple of words here and there. I think he said something like Lando, and Lando's like, but how could the shields be up if the generator's not down? Turn around. He's like, whatever. It's actually a real language in South America that very, very few people actually use. It's from some tribe somewhere, and they used the clips of that language for that character. Yeah. Anyways, sorry. That's my big story.
I mean, that's what they usually do. That's why Star Wars is so cool. They try to ground a lot of things in a part of a reality, so it seems natural and normal. I'm looking at his name's Nien Numb, and his mouth looks inappropriate. It's gross.
Yeah, it's Nien Nun. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he does that little thing. Yeah. I love that guy. Nien Numb is my favorite. They should have brought him back for if Disney was going to sink the damn legacy of Star Wars, at least they should have made an entire show, a 10-episode show, spent $220 million on Nien Numb just walking around going for
it's like a situational comedy, and it's got the rat guy from Jabba's palace going.
It's just like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing. Just Nien Numb going to get soup at the local cantina. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
and he's
great.
very clumsy. He knocks over speeder bikes, and it would be. You know what, Mag? Why does Disney have control of Star Wars when you have all the good ideas?
Give it to Leslie Headland to $180 million to have. I won't even say what make a show like The Acolyte. We could have made a show about Nien Numb, and it probably would have had a lot more viewers. My God,
had to have a great theme song too.
Oh, of course, I'd have a great scene. Nien Numb.
The Red Wolf's in the chat, and I'm thinking he could probably write the first episode. We're gonna make some money. Meg, what are you gonna be doing the rest of the week? Are we gonna see you next week on Ecstasy?
Of course. No, of course I'll be there. No. I'm gonna be. No. I don't need a Monday. I don't need a Monday off until the first week of August when I'm actually out of I'm out of the city. I'm gonna be completely on the road. Okay. And then, but other than that, no. I'm here on the Monday. So yeah.
All right. Shout out to Special Nick in the chat. He just woke up and he's like, "G'day."
He just woke up?
No.
Get to work, Special Nick. It's probably the middle of the day over there, isn't it?
It's like 11 or noon, depending on whatever time adjustment they have over there.
We all know Risket's still sleeping, probably passed out in a hammock outside, drunk, with a Foster's beard, like dripping upside down out of his hand, with a crocodile nibbling on his toes.
You bring up Risket because he's also Australian. I mean, doesn't that follow the same problem where someone's like, "Oh, you're from Toronto, eh? Do you know such and such in Montreal?"
You must know John. Yeah, you must know
John.
John.
The Trailer Park Boys? Like, you get that sometimes?
Actually, I did meet them. Yeah.
You did? Which ones did you meet?
All of them. They do promo spots all the time here. Like, that Snoop Dogg did a show in Nova Scotia, which is about, well, it's not close to me, but I mean, it's close enough. Like 2 provinces over. But either way, when Snoop Dogg did the show, the Trailer Park Boys were there doing promos out at the beginning of the show, during the show, after the show. They even did like a little impromptu skit stuff in front of people. It was like a whole thing.
Guys are legends.
They show up in places, like even in Toronto, they just show up places full character.
Like, were you in the vicinity, or did you actually get to shake hands?
At the Hard Rock Cafe. At the Hard Rock Cafe, they were like standing next to me, and they show up in full character. Like, no, like, okay, hi, shirt, I'm the guy who plays
Scotch.
Yeah. No, they show up in full character, and they actually they just do what they do, right? And then they take pictures and do other stuff and whatever. And
I'm convinced that Trailer Park Boys, that is how they were raised, so they're just kind of barely playing a character, right? That's what makes it so amazing.
Well, the Bubbles guy is nothing like how he actually is. Like in the show,
he's in a band.
He's been in a band. And like, if you actually see him without the glasses and without the hair and all that stuff, he actually looks completely different. You probably wouldn't recognize him if you.
I don't know if
you'd be like,
his name's like Mike or something. I don't know if you guys that are listening right now, and thanks for being here, if you've watched Trailer Park Boys, but this one character, Bubbles, he has these thick glasses on. They're so thick that when he's doing the show, he has to look at the characters off to the side, because if he tries to look through, he can't see anything.
You can't see, yeah.
Otherwise, he would destroy his eye skill. Special Nick goes, "Hey, Colt, you going to Gamescom?" I had thought about it, but I had made so many trips this year. I just couldn't see myself taking another 12 to 14-hour flight. I don't know. Maybe next time. There was a lot of travel this year, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got a lot of That's funny, because I barely did any travel the first half of the year. For me, it's always the second half. So I'm traveling August, I'm traveling September, I'm traveling October, I'm traveling again. I'll be going to the U.S. again in November. I'm in the U.S. in September. Like, it's all like, just the second half of the year is always a huge dog pile of stuff going on, and that's usually how I do. Because the first half of the year we kind of focus on work, getting our jobs done, any projects that need to be done, whether at work or whether at home, and then the second half of the year is just a nonstop party. So yeah.
And shout out to Fun Speculation, Mav in the chat, who's saying, "Yo, Nick, that Mav, how come you never call me?"
Yeah, I didn't see Mav saying hello to any of us, to be quite honest.
Yeah, he comes in here and he's like, "Yeah, these two clowns." I'll say hi to everybody else.
I also noticed that Mav did not invite either one of us to his fireworks party in Texas. I was very upset about that.
I left the whole like a lot of week open. I mean, I had my mom here. It was a perfect opportunity to get away and get over to Mav's place and blow up a bunch of fireworks. But no, I had to stay with my mom because Mav didn't send me an invite.
It's a true story. And I also saw that he had like one of those 132 shot like July 4th Patriot like fireworks, those big ones.
The whole box thing.
Yeah, they had it back in the pickup truck, and I'm like, I could have done that. I could.
Yeah, Mav actually tucked the thing down the front of his pants, and then Pong lit it, and then he ran as quickly as he could down saying Game Pass price hike.
Just rubbing it in our faces. Yeah, I know. Say that 5 times fast. He's rubbing it in our face with sandpaper. Now listen, it was really fun. Unreal.
Brad wants to know if Julian had his glass of rum and Coke in his hand when
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. No, I'm saying when they come in full character, they come in full character. Black T-shirt, rum and Coke, the whole thing, the hair, and like you're not talking to the actor. You're talking to the character. And that's the brilliance of it. So that whenever they show up somewhere, they just show up in character. So it makes you think like, are these guys actually real?
They don't even have
what I mean?
lines. Like they just write like in the episode, we're going to do this. This is going to happen. And we're going to do this. And then this has to happen. And the rest is all ad lib. That show has to be so fun to make.
It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like Curb Your Enthusiasm doesn't have a script.
Yeah.
When Larry David does it, he literally gives you the situation and you just go. And he's like, okay, guys, here's a situation. It's sketch comedy, right? I mean, it's basically at the point where he's like, okay, listen, there's a situation. This is what's happening. Your character is mad at me because of this, that, and the other, and action. And they just go. And so it must be wild. But
yeah.
Anyways, we can talk about Trailer Park time another Trailer Park Boys another time.
We'll do a Trailer Park Boys podcast on a third channel. But Udani Kizana says, thank you for the 2, Udani. He goes, congrats to Red Wolf and you making a hit mods video. A week ago, we spent like all weekend on it. We did a mods video for Starfield. We collaborated. We got on camera together and interacted in real time. He provided some amazing mods. And this video mag is, I don't know how you say number one. Within the first 10 hours, it was his number one video of all time. He had 11,000 views in 8 hours.
Wow.
In 8 hours, it topped any video he's ever put out. He's at some like almost 30,000 views on it. Freaking amazing. In fact, he stole all of my views, which I told him was probably going to happen. We released the videos about the same time. His just took off like a rocket, and that is so cool to see. So shout out to Red Wolf. He makes great content. And you know who else makes great content is my friend Mag. And Mag, I need to let you go because I had a great show. Anything you want to say to everybody besides us talking about Trailer Park Boys?
Oh man, everybody, thank you all for the support as always. I know it's this middle of summer, not much going on, and but it is what it is. We're still going to be putting out content, still be entertaining everybody as best we can. And thank you guys for all the support to both of us for this great show that we're on. And like I said, we may not always see eye to eye. Maybe you might call us names or this and that, but we're all here to have some fun. So we'll see you guys all next Monday. Have a great night, everyone.
Appreciate that. And yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Meg, I'll see you next week. I don't have anything because he said it perfect. I'm just going to hit the outro. Guys, hit the like button on the way out and leave a comment after the fact. It helps out. And it helps out the algorithm. We're out of here. See ya.